Today we will go over Lesson 11.4, Day 4. A survey was conducted at a Zac Brown Band concert. People were asked the following questions. Do you play the piano? Do you play the guitar? Do you play the drums? Use the Venn diagram results of the survey to answer the following questions. So part A says how many people play the piano? So we would want to take a look at our P circle, and then any number inside of that circle we are going to add together. So we would take 21 plus 13 plus 10 plus 11. So that gives us a total of 55 people who play piano. Part B says how many people play the drums. So the same idea, but we're going to go over to our D circle and add together those four numbers. So for this one, we have 11 plus 10 plus 15 plus 27, which gives us 63 people who play the drums. Part C says how many people play the guitar. So let's take a look at our G circle and add together those numbers. We have 13 plus 10 plus 15 plus 35. So that gives us 73 people who play guitar. Part D says how many people were surveyed. So our entire rectangle represents all those who were surveyed at the concert. So we would need to add together all of those numbers. So I'm just going to write a note here, add all numbers. That are in the Venn diagram. Okay, so go ahead and do that on a calculator if you have not already. Make sure you add all of the numbers once. So we could take 21 plus 13 plus 10 plus 11 plus 27 plus 15 plus 35, and then don't forget your 18 outside of our circles. So you're adding each of those numbers just once. So you should end up with 150 people who were surveyed. Okay, our next question for letter E says how many people play piano, drums, and guitar? So the key word here is and. We're talking about who plays all three of those things. So for this part, it would be our overlap that's in the very center, which contains all three of those circles. So this one would just be 10. Letter F says how many people only play one instrument? So this means we don't want to include any overlaps. So we would include this part of our piano circle, this part of our guitar circle, and then this part of our drum circle. So I'll highlight that in to really show you what I'm talking about here. So we aren't including any of those overlaps. So really we have three numbers to add together for this one, which are 21, 35, and 27. So that gives us a total of 83 people who play only one instrument. All right, next up, letter G says how many people play the piano and drums? So that's another and, so we want the overlap between the P circle and the D circle. So that's going to be right in here. Remember, it's okay if they also play guitar. It just says they have to play piano and drums. So for this one, we will add together 11 plus 10 which is 21. Up next, letter H says how many people play the drums but do not play the guitar. So if we take a look at our D circle, we just want to include everything that does not overlap with guitar. Okay, so we have two numbers to add together here. We have 11 plus 27, which gives us 38 people who play the drums but do not play the guitar. Letter I says how many people play two or more of these instruments. So that means that we would have to be in some sort of overlap. So we could include this section of overlap between P and G. We could include the overlap between G and D. We could include the overlap between P and D, or we could include the overlap of all three because it says two or more of these instruments. So if we add those numbers together, 13 plus 11 plus 10 plus 15, we get 49 people who play two or more of these instruments. For part J, it says how many people play piano and drums but do not play the guitar. So piano and drums, our overlap would be here, but we said do not play the guitar. So really we can only include this upper part. We don't want to include the overlap with the G circle. So our answer for this one is 11. Part K says what is the probability that a person surveyed plays the piano and drums? So I'm going to go back and highlight some important questions that will help us with this. So part D, we found out how many people were surveyed. And then, since we're trying to find out those who played the piano and drums, I'm also going to highlight part G. Okay? So we had 21 people who played the piano and drums out of 150 people who were surveyed, and that simplifies to 7 out of 50. So that means there's a 7/50th probability that a person surveyed plays the piano and the drums.